Okay. Yeah, I think why don't we just get started now? It is 7:03 and might be a few other folks that are coming online. I'm getting some emails about passwords and stuff, so hopefully they'll join us shortly. Well, let's see. Welcome everyone to our May meeting. Note this will be the last meeting until September as we take a break in July. But before we begin, I have a few administrative announcements. Please be aware this meeting will be recorded for the convenience of those who cannot attend and will be accessible on our Facebook page and our website, mossbay.org, starting tomorrow. We typically have the majority of our neighbors actually watch the recording. We kindly request that you keep your microphones muted unless you're actively speaking. We'll reserve questions for the end of each presentation, and if you wish to ask a question, you have the option to unmute yourself or type it in the chat, and I'll be more than happy to read them aloud so they can be recorded. Okay, so with that, let's start here. So our first item on the agenda, Chief Harris is here from the Kirkland Police Department to answer some of our questions. Welcome. We have heard, many have heard of someone who has been in a pedestrian or a biking accident around Moss Bay, and we were hoping to get a better understanding of how often these incidents happen and where the most common accident areas are so we can be more cautious.
Okay, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we got you now.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Also, with me and who's signed on tonight is Officer Rob King, and he is actually um, a dedicated traffic officer. So,
Perfect.
yes, he's a police officer, but his assignment is working traffic. And I did put together a few slides, if it's okay to share
Yeah,
my screen with you. And I'll just take a few minutes, and we're like almost all teams. So let me see if I can actually make this work.
there we go.
Got it?
Yeah,
All right. So just really quick, I'll just give you a really quick staffing update. Is we're doing very well on staffing. We're authorized for 108, and we're currently at 107. Now there are about 12 non-deployable officers when I say that, because they're either in the academy, they're waiting to go to the academy, or they're post-academy training. But recruiting and hiring is going very well. And then just wanted to give you a really quick kind of overview of neighborhood activity and crime in general, and then I'm going to get to traffic-related statistics. But a few things about the Moss Bay neighborhood from blue that you can see here in this graph is 2023, and orange is 2024, and then green is through May 5th in 2025. And just a little bit of perspective, the theft that occurs in the neighborhood is almost all related to shoplift incidents and or mail and package thefts that occur. So really encourage everyone, if you can, to use the package locker systems that many, like I know Amazon has some locker systems, or try to coordinate your deliveries when you're home. But truly, the majority also are associated with businesses. We have seen a decline in kind of violent crime that's occurred in Kirkland, but an increase in calls for service. So just kind of share that, and also tell you, as far as burglaries are concerned on this graph right here, they're almost all related as well to commercial burglaries and not necessarily residential like homes. But did want to share that and get my phone on. And then had asked for a little bit of information from the traffic unit. So we have dedicated officers that what they do during their time is they are responding to 911 calls related to traffic. We have a sergeant, a corporal, and 3 officers. 2 of them also ride a motorcycle. And they're responding to traffic collisions. They're also responding to traffic complaints. And so we not only are gathering information from the community on fast traffic or dangerous traffic, but also we look at the collision data, where are crashes happening in the city, and we use some heat maps that show where those are located. But for the first 4 months of the year, the traffic sergeant had pulled some information for the Moss Bay neighborhood that I could share with you tonight that shows, like on Central Way, we've written 104 tickets this year, 118 warnings, and we've had 8 collisions. And you can kind of see Lake Street, Northeast 85th, Kirkland Way, State Street, Kirkland Avenue, and 3rd. And then specifically, there have been 4 tickets that have been issued to vehicles for parking too close to or on top of a crosswalk. Obviously, a safety issue when vehicles are parking too closely, but it's something that we do work and we are paying attention to as much as possible. If you have any specific questions, Alex, we definitely answer those.
Yeah. So the collisions here are just between vehicles.
I believe there was one pedestrian and vehicle collision in the last 4 months.
Okay.
Unless that was my recollection from the statistics, unless Officer King had anything else on that. Yeah.
Okay. And just curious, all through Kirkland, how many sort of pedestrian or biking vehicle collisions do we have every year? And where do you think the highest frequency or most common areas would be?
Off the top of my head, I could not tell you those exact locations, and I'm not sure if Officer King could either. He might, because he does that work and he's responding to those. But I can also tell you that there is a way that you can look as well, and just go forward on a couple slides here. One, I just want to remind everyone that Our Kirkland is available where you can provide information. It's downloadable onto an app on your phone, and if it's traffic related or crime related, we do receive that information through Our Kirkland. So it's an easy way to provide information. We do have dashboards on our website, transparency dashboards that are going to show where crime is occurring, anything that has to do with our schools and our community resource officers, and a use of force dashboard. And then there are also some crime prevention tips on there. So if you ever have any questions about firearm safety, we are actively providing firearm safety training, as well as giving away gun locks as well to secure firearms. One of the number one ways in which firearms are being, stolen is in vehicles, and they're not secured. So just give a little picture on that. And then what I wanted to show is community crime mapping, also available through our website. And you can basically drill down into your neighborhood and look at what kind of crimes are occurring. And a report has to have been written, and it does take a few days to get this into the system. But so if you just hear about something happening on social media, and then you look on and you don't see it on here, it might be because a report wasn't actually written or the police weren't contacted. But there's a lot of information that's available on crimemapping.com if you want to see what's happening in your neighborhood. And then a shout out, we have, I was going to say, this says new animal control officer. She's actually been with us for about a year, but you can also opt into getting text messages by texting pets to 425-490-8326. And definitely if there's a lost pet, we're using this as a way to give community notifications. And then just want to remind everyone, Officer King and I were talking about this before we got ready to come on, but if there's a speeding vehicle and you really believe that you've just witnessed a dangerous vehicular acts of some kind, calling 911 and providing real-time information is the best way for us to get that information. And if at all possible, Officer King's going to respond, or one of the traffic officers, if they're not on another call. It might take a little while if they're already on a collision or doing something else, but calling 911 is absolutely going to be the best way. Certainly when it's something that is critical and or dangerous. You can call the non-emergency line. You can do online reporting as well, and you can do that. It's all available on our website, not just for traffic, but for something else that you think that we need to know about. And then again, our Kirkland is available too. And that was really fast, but I know you've got a long agenda, and I wanted to give some time for questions as well. And maybe Officer King has an idea of where we have the most collisions in the city.
Alex, I think you specifically asked about bicycle car accidents, was your question?
Bicycle and pedestrian.
And pedestrian. Okay. The majority of the bicycle related accidents that we're seeing would be, and I don't have numbers exactly. I didn't know what data to pull, knowing what questions were coming tonight. Juanita Drive, bicycle versus car, we get them on there, and that's winding up the hill, going up towards Finn Hill. Also on Lake Washington Boulevard, we have the bike lane. So there's car parking on the right shoulder, then the bike lane, and then the vehicular traffic. And I would say on northbound, we get cars that make right and left turns in front of the bike lane. And then on southbound, we have parked cars that open the door into the bike. So the traffic collisions with the bikes on the boulevard, Juanita Drive, and then also along Northeast 70th on the east side of the freeway. So imagine like the backside of Lake Washington High School, that area. So we get some there because there's a lot of school bicycle commuter traffic. And so some of those kids are driving on 70th, and we've had a couple accidents there. Any other location with a bicycle related accident, they're just kind of hit and miss throughout the city, and there's not really an area that rings a bell. But those are Lake Washington Boulevard, Lake Street South, and Juanita Drive. Those would be the two that stand out initially. And then 70th, Northeast 70th would be a distant third, and anything else is just kind of spot check here and there, nothing real consistent. And pedestrian related accidents, those we don't really have a hot spot on the map. They're just kind of mixed in everywhere throughout the city. And sometimes it's people walking on the shoulder, sometimes on the crosswalk. Not so much cars going up on the sidewalk, although there was in your neighborhood, several months ago, someone on the sidewalk that got hit. But that's really an anomaly. Mostly it's where there's a paved shoulder, no sidewalk, or if it's a crosswalk type thing. And there's really not a particular spot that really blows up as here's a dangerous pedestrian zone. It's really throughout the city.
Okay. Great, thanks, Officer King. So let's open it up. Anyone else have any questions?
Hi, this is Ken Overman. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. By the way, thank you. I really appreciate the data that you're sharing. I remember a few years ago driving down 85th into Kirkland, there used to be a big sign that says that we were monitoring for those really noisy automobiles that would come down and into the Kirkland and make all that backfiring noise. Is there still any ordinance or any activities to help reduce some of the noise from those, say, loud cars, automobiles?
Yeah, we have officers and certainly traffic. I believe that the traffic officers write more violations for most of the time. It's going to be for modified exhaust.
Exactly.
But really since 2020, we've written more tickets for loud vehicles than we have really in a very, very long time. We also still participate in a pilot program that will end the end of June, and we'll have a report that we're drafting that's due to the Washington Traffic Safety Commission. And the pilot program is with a vendor who is developing technology to automate enforcement of vehicles that are over a noise decibel level. So I think right now it's over 100 decibels is what the equipment is looking for. Vehicles are over 100 decibels. But there's still some there. It isn't currently legal for automated enforcement of noisy vehicles to occur. So the legislation needs to change a little bit, and the whole noise kind of laws are actually with the Department of, I want to say like the Department of Ecology. So there's some legislation that needs to occur, but we are part of a pilot program, and Central and Sixth is, I'm pretty sure, Officer King, right? Central and Sixth is one of the systems that is being tested, and then down on the boulevard as well, there's a second system.
Right. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ken. Yeah, we have a question from the Uptown collab there. Go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, do you know where the pedestrian was hit on the sidewalk? Chief?
I think it was on Lake Street, but
That's right. Yeah, it was Lake Street South, just south of 2nd. So it was in the 300 block of Lake Street South is where that one was.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Nope, you can also type in the chat if you like. Going once, I think. Oh, wait, sorry. Joyce?
More comment. I often cross from Central Way from uptown at Kirkland Urban here across the street to Acropolis Restaurant. And as the cars are coming up the ramp there, you know, from the like courtyard area, and then making a right turn onto Central, I've been almost hit a couple of times because I don't know what the problem is, but they don't like to slow down or stop when they're coming up that little ramp. So I just wanted to throw that into the mix.
I appreciate that. We will add it. We aside from looking at, like I talked about, kind of hotspots, we also, the traffic sergeant is every week updating kind of a list of complaints that we get from the community. And not only do the traffic officers who are dedicated to that work go out and work that area, but so do patrol officers. And we have quite a few patrol officers that do a lot of traffic stops.
So earlier, someone mentioned that you know, these are really under the purview of Public Works in terms of any, I guess, any improvements to crosswalks or some of these intersections. Is there a way you suggest? Do we still report incidents to you, the police, or you know, would we try to work with them directly on some of these areas?
Yeah, we work very closely with Public Works and the traffic engineers. We share information on collisions that occur, something that happens with a pedestrian. We're looking very closely at that. So I did see there was a question about what's the punishment for a driver who hits a pedestrian, and it really is going to depend on the facts and circumstances of that incident. If they're impaired, that's a different crime than if it was an attention or speeding. So that kind of depends on the circumstances of that collision.
So in the chat, Gina asks, Central Way from Lake Street to 6th needs to have speed limits posted. When will we have more of that? That
definitely is Public Works.
Public Works, yep.
But I can find out and let you know.
Okay. Great. I think our time is up. So really appreciate Chief Harris and Officer King joining us today. Appreciate all the information.
And I really appreciate all of you that come together collectively. this is, I just really encourage you all to get to know each other, and it's what makes Kirkland great, and it really helps us do our job when neighbors know each other and know who's supposed to be at their home and who's not supposed to be at their home, and cars that should be there and not. And if you see something that's suspicious or out of place, please call.
Okay. Great advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So next up on the agenda, we have an introduction to the Kirkland Performance Center. I think Jeff is, Jeff, are you there yet? He told me he's just trying to hop on now. So if it's okay with everyone, let's just skip ahead. Let's see, where are we here? Yes. So the Cultural Arts Commission. A few months ago, I had the opportunity to present the utility box wrap proposal, which is located behind our neighborhood sign. And that was my first introduction to the commission. While many of us enjoy the multitude of public art in our community, we're not always familiar with the Cultural Arts Commission, the work they do, or how we can get more involved. That's why I thought it would be helpful to invite Alisa, the chair of the Cultural Arts Commission, to join us this evening.
Thank you, Alex. Hello, everyone. My name is Alisa Sargsyan, and yes, I am the chair of the commission. I'm very happy to be here.
Welcome.
I am very excited to share about the commission, what we do. I have prepared several slides, just basically images of the art projects that we've done.
Perfect.
And I'm gonna share my screen, which hopefully will work. We are doing everything in Teams, so I am not a Zoom person, but I'll figure it out. Okay, what do you see now? Okay. Do you see the Cultural Arts Commission slides?
Yes, I think. So we could see like a series of 3 slides there.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So the way I've decided to approach it, there's usually too much text and not enough images. So I've decided to do it the other way around. There will be a lot of images, and I will just tell you everything that you want to know. Also, feel free to ask me any questions you've got. Hopefully, I'll get the answers ready for you. So who we are, Cultural Arts Commission is a volunteer body. We work with the city of Kirkland. We advise the city on public art acquisitions and loans. We review, recommend projects, and we also try to promote strategic planning and development for arts, culture, and heritage in our community. Here are some of the projects that we've done. Some of these images might be familiar to you. I wanted to single out the Park Lane Outdoor Sculpture Gallery. Now, this one is actually rotating every 2 years. So what you see right now is going to change in this upcoming fall. We will have brand new selection of artwork. This artwork is on loan from the artists to the city and is actually for sale. So if anyone is interested, they can purchase the artwork and the city doesn't get any commission from the sales. We usually have wide selection of different sculptures, and this gallery is going to expand because the funding that we have received from For Culture has also expanded, and we are hoping to involve more areas of the city. So if you know of a location that would benefit from a new sculpture, please reach out to us. I will tell you how a little bit later, and we will be happy to review your proposed location. Next project that I wanted to talk about. Would you like to ask questions right now or at the end?
Maybe we leave it to the end.
Okay. Next one is utility boxes art wraps. That's how we met Alex and discussed what we can do together. These projects are ongoing. We have already wrapped 3 utility boxes. As you can see, they are located next to Kirkland Urban, next to the Juanita Beach Park, and this one is in Totem Lake area. These are very successful. We've got a lot of positive feedback from the community, and there will be more coming up. So again, if you're interested, if you know of a utility box that would benefit from art wrap, please reach out to us. We'll let you know if that one could actually be wrapped, because if they don't belong to the city, we can't do anything about it. There are several that belong to the utility companies, but just start the process and we'll see what we can do and how we can collaborate on this project. That being said, we're moving to a big public art project we've been doing for the last couple of years. You know that the city of Kirkland is renovating and building fire stations. And these are the public art works that we have selected to be placed in several locations. 2 of them have been already installed. There's one next to Fire Station 22 that you probably have seen in Horton. And this one is Fire Station 27 that has been already completed. And the other 2 are going to be installed respectively in Fire Stations 21 and 26. These projects are possible through the city's funding program called 1% for the Arts. So every year the city allocates budget for public art projects, which is approximately 1% of the overall city budget for that year. Moving on to this community favorite, this frog you've probably seen on Cross Kirkland Corridor. It has been installed by the Cultural Arts Commission a couple of years ago, and it's become an instant landmark. People love the frog, and we are hoping to get more artwork on Cross Kirkland Corridor. That being said, I want to show you something that we haven't completed yet, but we are currently working on. So with this idea of Cross Kirkland Corridor getting more art, we have a project in the works called Reimagining the Kalakala. This might need a very short background here. The slide talks about the Kalakala. I don't know if it's large enough for you to see. Sorry, let me zoom in. So the Kalakala was a ferry that used to travel across Puget Sound, and the remnants of the Kalakala landed in the city of Kirkland's Public Works Department. Since 2015, they've been basically just left unattended, and here is the condition of the remnants that we have found them to be when we finally decided to begin working on this project. We have decided that this is not going to be easy, so we've targeted it from another angle and decided to reimagine the ferry, not building a memorial for the ferry or just making them more presentable, and completely dismantling the remnants and trying to make something new out of it. As a result of art call, we have selected the same artist as actually the frog, Will Schlaw, to create a completely different Kalakala makeover and turn it into a birdhouse. Now, what you see here is the birdhouse proposal that Will present it to the commission. And if it would be approved by the city council, it would be placed here. Let me show you. It's next to the South Kirkland Park and Ride. There is the location on the map, as you can see. Here's the South Kirkland Park and Ride, and the reimagining the Kalakala art project would be installed here. So we've did some community outreach and proposed several birds that would be living on our birdhouse, and let the community decide which birds would they prefer to see, and presented this project during For the Love of Kirkland event organized by the Kirkland Community Foundation in April. That being said, I want to talk about the ways that we want to expand artwork in Kirkland. So we are hoping for the community to reach out to us with their proposals, and we are making an art request form. If you'd like to see art in Kirkland, or if you have art that you think would benefit being placed in Kirkland, you could reach out to us through our website. Hopefully we will roll out the form at the end of the month. As well as we would like you to know that we're working on a GIS map for potential art locations. So it would be sort of like a Google map. You would see where artwork has been already placed and where there is no artwork at all. So if you would walk by the neighborhood and you would see a wall that would benefit from a mural, or you would see an abandoned area that would be beautified by artwork, you could log into the GIS map and mark that location, specifying which type of artwork you would like to see placed there. And we would receive all the inquiries. And besides that, we hold public meetings every third Wednesday of the month, and members of the community are always welcome to attend and provide their feedback or present, ask us questions, and participate. All the information is on the city's website under Cultural Arts Commission's web page. If you have any questions, comments, and suggestions, please, I am here to listen. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm all ears.
Great, thanks. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just had maybe I'll kick things off with the questions. You know, for the installations, the ones that you've shared, but plus the other ones that the commission is responsible for. I mean, are these all local artists, or what is the balance between local versus regional versus national, international that gets represented?
We are trying to support local artists, emerging artists. We have special programs that are for local artists only. For example, the Kalakala was a local artist's call, but we also work on a larger scale. For fire stations, it was an international call, and we've got artists from different states. We've had international applicants as well, but they didn't make it to the finals. But the currently selected artists are from Utah, Montana, one local artist. There are art calls of all kinds, depending on the budget and on the goal of the project.
Got it. Excellent. And where will we see the form that you were talking about in terms of suggestions? Is that just going to be on the Kirkland website, or?
It's going to be on the Cultural Arts Commission's website, and we are currently working on it. We've got actually several ideas. We were wondering what the community wants to see, what kind of form would be easier. We were thinking about an interactive form, like a cascade form with your questions and suggestions. But also, if you do have artwork for donations, for example, we do accept artwork that you've got and you'd like to donate to the city. We would like to see all kinds of community involvement. We've noticed that a lot of community members don't even know that we exist.
Right.
We'd like to change that.
Okay. Hopefully we're doing some of that today. We have a question from Uptown.
Yeah. There's a clock at Lake Street and Kirkland Way, you know, right in the main intersection there. That is part of our Kirkland heritage, that great big clock. And I think that it doesn't do anything. And I think it'd be really cool if it did something, if the hands went around.
I see what you're saying.
Part of our cultural heritage.
Yes, yes, I believe that's the Heritage Society's clock, but I need to double check on that. It's not part of our art selection, but we will reach out to them and see who is responsible for the maintenance and for the clock's purpose.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that's it for questions, but very comprehensive overview of the great work that your commission does. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Alex. I just wanted to add that the commission has an opening for a youth member, and if you've known folks that are eager to serve the community, high schoolers, it would look very good on their resume, and it would benefit us. So if they would like to apply, we've got the application open until May 16th.
Okay, make a note of that. So yeah, I'll post these details as well as the link to your page on our website and on our Facebook as well.
Great, thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Okay, so let's go back now. I think Jeff is on there. Jeff, are you here?
I'm here.
Hey, thanks. Sorry, we skipped ahead.
Alex. All good. No.
Jeff Lockhart is the executive director of the Kirkland Performance Center. And, we're just hoping to get an introduction to any changes to the Performance Center, including the 360 or 360 Club Lounge that I've heard so much about.
Very cool. Yeah. Thanks, Alex. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me. I see a lot of, I don't see face, but I see a lot of names on here that I recognize from, I think more than half the names on this are KPC people. So
okay.
Good to see you. Again, honored to be here tonight and to share with you. I have a PowerPoint. Can I share my screen?
Yeah. Let me there we go.
I have permission for that. Let's see. Can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, the logo. Okay, great. Yeah, well, Kirkland Performance Center, we are in our 6th year of existence, and there's a lot of stuff going on right now. I'm the third executive director here. As I'll show you my PowerPoint here, I'll talk about all the different things that we do at KPC, but one of the main things is we went through the pandemic as a theater. You probably heard a lot of arts organizations still. That's still a major topic of conversation for arts organizations. And when we emerged, we learned a lot from that and of what our role is in the community. And we're excited about where we are going forward. Most notably, Alex, you mentioned the 350 Club, and it's called the 350 Club because that's our address for 350 Kirkland Avenue. So that's original. We thought that up on our own. And that's a backstage area before a concert. People can buy an add-on to a ticket and go up there, and about 30 people can fit in there. 35 people, and there's a wine bar and just a way to meet new friends, and there's a vinyl record listening station, and just a cool way to be backstage and meet new friends and get to know KPC a little bit better, relax away from the crowds before you go into your show. One of the things I'll talk about too that we're really excited about is after almost 30 years we've been existing as a theater, a lot of people about 85,000 people a year go through there, and we're wearing the place out. And so we're in a $5.25 million capital campaign. We got about $1.25 million left to raise on that. Demolition and construction starts July 1st. And it will be totally different a year and a half from now. We're in 3 different phases. The stage area, we call the stage box, all new stage, all new rigging, curtains, all the lighting, screens, all that'll be brand new by Labor Day. Then we'll reopen again. Then we'll stop again at Christmas time when we're slower, and we'll do all the electrical to the building. You won't see that, but it's outdated, and we can't get parts for that stuff anymore. So because of a grant from the city of Kirkland, we can get that done. It's about $1 million project. That'll be done by the end of January. Then we'll close down again. And then next July and August, we'll redo all of the auditorium, all the seats, the paint, it'll all look completely different in there. The lobby, It'll be fantastic. And so by Labor Day of 2026, it'll all be done. And so we're just grateful to our partners at the state of Washington, city of Kirkland, a lot of great foundations, King County, a lot of great individuals that have helped us get this far. It's called Elevate, and I'll talk about that tonight. So we're excited what's happening. KPC has great beginnings, and KPC was started as a grassroots effort by citizens of Kirkland, getting back to the 80s, and the city of Kirkland. And a lot of people don't know that we're a nonprofit, and our building is owned by the city of Kirkland, and we're the nonprofit 501c3 that operates the outreach and the programming that happens in the building. And I am just publicly continually grateful for our partners at the city of Kirkland and what they mean to us every single day. And this is when they were breaking ground on the building. Way back when. There is some of the folks at the building site. This is right where the senior center would currently be, across from the swimming pool in Kirkland. It's founded by a gentleman named Bill Woods, who's right there where my arrow's pointing. Bill's not with us anymore, but we are eternally grateful for his work at KPC. Stand on those folks' shoulders. If you've ever been at Kirkland Performance Center, this would be looking out the front door of the lobby across the street. Over at Kirkland Avenue, there's where the old Safeway and Salvation Army used to be, and a little bit of Kirkland history. And that is where those two people, the construction workers, those would be the seats of the auditorium right now. And the lobby would be out here in the windows and across 350, across Kirkland Avenue at our address of 350. That is looking at the building under construction. This is the current 350 club, where it is right. This is the old Kirkland Library. And so they just attached a theater onto the old library and moved the library. There's Lee Johnson Fields. And then over here would be the library and the swimming pool area. And this is the stage. If you've ever been to Kirkland Performance Center, this would be the edge of the stage coming out, called the apron. And they're working on the stage on that day right there. And there it is when they completed it 30 years ago. It looks a little, the marquee's different, but this was the day that it opened at KPC in 1998. So KPC today, of course, Kirkland has evolved since 1998, and KPC has evolved since 1998. So currently, right now, we see ourselves as community and culture connectors. I get asked in my role, what about music and arts and all the stuff that we do, and we're proud of that. But really, what we see at KPC is we're a team of people that connect people. We see ourselves as connectors more than we do as arts experts. And what I mean by that is, when there's 400 people that want to connect around an expression on the stage, we want to help facilitate that. So it doesn't matter what that is artistically. For some people, that's music. For some people, that's a film. Maybe it's stand-up comedy. Maybe it's a business meeting. Maybe it's an end-of-life service. Funerals happen there. When people want to connect around something artistically that's important to them on a stage, we want to help to connect people to bring meaning to life and the arts be the conduit. We think that the arts, music, the arts, all these different ways to facilitate this film. So it makes us human. It makes us better humans, and we want to facilitate people being together to do that. Obviously, today we're all looking at screens, and we get a lot of our content through YouTube and Netflix. Those are all awesome tools. We just believe there's nothing like being with other people and gathering something around an artistic expression. I saw Ryan James' name up here and what he does around the visual arts and paint, same thing. And we're honored to be doing that. So our name is Kirkland Performance Center, but we are regional in our outreach. So we do a lot for people in Kirkland on the east side, the greater Puget Sound, believe it or not, Washington State, and even around the world. When I look at the manifest of the shows, it's amazing who comes to Kirkland to see shows from around the world and around the United States and around our region. So we're honored to be serving that. We're a 400-seat theater. And so it's a great place to have an intimate experience with an artistic expression that you see, which is really cool. I think, it's cool because there's no bad seat in the house, and the back row is only 35 feet from the stage. And so people ask me where I think the best seat is. I always sit in the back row because I can see and hear really. That's for free. That's a little tip for you where to sit in KPC. So it's really fun. We do about 285 performances a year. 50 of those is our presented season, and 235 is rentals. In other words, what that means is 50 shows a year that we curate and put on sale. Those would be more touring acts or celebrity level acts or local favorites that we would actually guarantee to pay the artist, and then we make our profit back on ticket sales. The rest of that is local community artists renting the theater, and then we being their partners to market that, run their box office, and be a boutique, if you would, to help them do their presentation and do their show. So that we help them with their lights and their sound and maybe their set design and how they manage their audience, how they sell their tickets, how they market it, how they social media, and come alongside them and help them put that show on. We have 60,000 visitors a year. 60, depending on the year, 60 is a low year, up to 85,000 in there. 20% of our programming is free or discounted to the public. We participate in a group with a group called Teen Tix that offers $5 tickets to shows when there's leftover seats to teenagers in the area if they'd like to come for $5. And then we have programming for all ages. There's about 10,000 kids a year that come through KPC, seniors, family, teens, all ages. When we first started, we were a presented season theater. We would curate all the shows, sell the tickets, and that's how we did that. But as time's gone on, we have 4 lines of business that represent KPC. That's the rental business I just mentioned, renting it to artists, the presented season I just mentioned, contribute income, people that donate to KPC, and then our new education outreach that started during the pandemic. And I'll explain that in a second. You can see that in a pie chart like this. 75% of how we run KPC is through rentals, 10% is our presented season, 10% is our contributed income, and 5% is education tuition. So on our rentals, there's, like I said, there's 235 performances by local groups in the I'd say the East Side region every year. There's dance, film, comedy, orchestra, theater, meetings, spoken word, rock, jazz, graduation. I mentioned that. We're honored that the multilingual, multicultural, international. The number one thing that happens at KPC is dance performances. And of the international groups, the number one that we work with is our friends in the Indian community. And when you probably from June through August, most of our presentations are from the Indian community, Bollywood, classical Indian dance, classical Indian orchestras, an expression called Arangetram happens. We're one of the main places that happens, not the only, but one of the main ones on the East Side. And that's a really super exciting time of year for us. In our presented season, again, 10% of what we do on our programming is that. 26% who come out are Kirkland residents, 74% are non-Kirkland residents. So you see the region using our theater beyond just Kirkland citizens that we serve. I've mentioned how many times that we do that a year. Our performers can be from all around the world. And then it's interesting that it's the biggest, I shouldn't joke. I joke the biggest risk to KPC is our presented season. If you have a big artist that comes in and you guarantee a lot of money against that and it doesn't sell, you take a lot of water on, it's dangerous. It's the biggest danger to KPC is when ticket sales don't happen. So we work really hard at picking the right shows that we hope will match the community so we can sell tickets and take care of that. The next portion is our contributed income. Again, KPC is a 501c3 and 54% of the donors to KPC are citizens of Kirkland, and this mainly funds our operations to run the theater, the capital campaign I just mentioned, and then our education outreach. And the last thing on the pie chart is our education outreach. This was the main thing when we came out of the pandemic. Matter of fact, during the pandemic, we got shut down and we laid our staff off and we were out of business and we had 2 months to go and we were have to turn the keys in. It was over. I was looking for other work. I'll be honest. It was bad times at KPC. So we took the last little money we had and we changed our name to KPC Studios, and we said goodbye to KPC as an entity. And we started filming and live streaming a once a week rock concert at KPC with local artists that weren't working with masks on. And then we filmed a gala and we did really well. And then other nonprofits started hiring us to do their galas. So we were the largest provider, a partner in the nonprofit in the Puget Sound region to help other nonprofits raise money for their nonprofits. During the pandemic, we wrote grants to do that, and it saved KPC. And we did that for almost 3 years. And what we learned through that is we always knew we were providing arts for the city, but we learned how important it was to be healers to the community. That when I mentioned a minute ago about what we felt as connectors, it really drove home during the pandemic how important that was and how important it was to empower people to get together around the arts and not just sitting in the seats to do that and buy a ticket, but giving people an opportunity to get with other people and be connectors and creators on their own. And we actually call it getting out of the seats and getting onto the stage. In other words, how do we encourage other people to get together and create on their own that has nothing to do with being famous or buying a ticket, being an artist, but just getting with other people. And that's what we repurposed the KPC Studios moniker. and we started our education program in earnest. And so matter of fact, we had some donors at KPC that had a teardown old veterinary clinic up on 7th Avenue. And 2 years ago, they donated that to us for free for 10 years. And we got a group of volunteers together for 9 months, flipped it into a beautiful facility. I'll show you pictures. Recording student, and KPC Studios as an education entity was born. That was a year and a half ago. We've had about 600 people go through those classes. And we have classes in a community choir we launched. That's our biggest outreach program. We've done it, about 75 people do this at the KPC stage every other month. So far, what's for sale right now to join is Lady Gaga Community Choir. That's going to be awesome. Last month, we did the Beatles. Month before that, we did ABBA. Month before that, we did David Bowie. We've done vintage country. It's a blast. And so it's just people in the community getting in the choir. You don't have to be very good. You just have to have a lot of fun. And everyone comes out and roots for you. It's super fun. We have songwriting class, different instruments, voice, recording. We just launched the social media for artists class. We've done a seminar on music industry business for aspiring artists and young people. And we keep growing that. And it's just a great resource for community and commercial recording projects. And it looks like this. So here's the old vet clinic we turned into KPC Studios. This is the big rehearsal room and meeting room. This is the control room to record from. We even have a drum room for recording drums. And then here's the outside of it, and here's the entryway. It's just a beautiful facility, and we use it every single week. It's busy all the time. The last thing I'll mention, I'll turn it back to Alex in a second, is as I mentioned before, we're really proud to be in the capital campaign, and we're so honored by the support of the community to get this going. And we've got about a little bit more than $1 million to go, and we'll have it done. And it's called Elevate KPC. If you're interested, you can check that out at elevatekpc.org is the website. That's the largest upgrade in the history of Kirkland Performance Center. And like I mentioned, the upgrades that we have planned, it says on the screen, brand new upgraded auditorium seats. I get asked that all the time. When can we have auditorium seats that are more comfy with cup holders? People spoke, we listened. That's going to happen. And that's going to be awesome. New stage deck. Matter of fact, this is interesting. When you go to any stage presentation, people take for granted what the stage does. You can have a rigid stage at a performing arts center or a sprung floor that bounces for dancers. And that's very important in the dance world, to have a sprung floor. To switch those out might be a 10-hour job and thousands of dollars. So new technology allows you to go from a rigid floor to a sprung floor in 60 seconds in the push of a button. There's only 3 theaters in the United States that have it now. We'll be the only ones on the West Coast with it. So that'll get installed in the summer. And we're super excited to be one of the first ones in the United States to have this. And we think it'll be a real regional attraction for more dance groups, protect more knees, more hips, more backs, more feet, more kids, get more people involved dancing on the stage and take care of their health at the same time. Get a new rigging fly system, new electrical grid, new projection sound AV, new safety enhancements. It's going to be super cool for the next generation at KPC. So that's what's going on. All right. That's all I have to share. I'm going to turn this back to Alex. Thanks so much for having me. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Great, Jeff. Wow, that was an extensive presentation. There's so many changes happening.
Oh, thank you. No, we're super honored to be doing what we do every day there.
A quick question here. Maybe I'll kick things off. So when does the capital campaign Elevate KPC? When is that scheduled to end?
Good question. That'll end when we raise the money. And so, what we've done is we planned it in phases to be on time for each phase. We knew it would be hard to do it all at once. And then also to do all this, we have to close down. So the first generation that built it weren't running shows while they were building the theater. And that's how we make our income. And then we were shut down also for 3 years. I joke and say, what business does a little theater have of shutting themselves down again after they opened up after the pandemic? And here we are. So this first phase 1, we have all the money. It's all paid for. We worked really hard for 3 years to get this far. That'll happen. We also have everything ready to go and set in Christmas time. That buys us the rest of 2025. And then into spring of 2026 to raise this other $1 million. And we think we're on time to be able to do that. Gives us 18 months to get the rest in. And we're on schedule to do it.
Got it. Thanks. Any questions for Jeff? Any questions about maybe some upcoming events? Do you have something to highlight?
As a matter of fact, I do. So here's some shows coming up that are coming to Kirkland. Some of these are public, some of these are off the press. I had to come with some show and tell today. that the public doesn't even know this yet. So some of you guys are the first ones to hear about this. So
Great.
coming up on deck is the Wallflowers with Jacob Dylan. That's a fundraiser for KPC. That's sold out, and that's going to be awesome. They agreed to come and do our fundraiser. So super excited about that. Comedian from Comedy Central, Steve Hofstetter, is coming in a few weeks. This will be fun. It's Napoleon Dynamite. We are showing the movie with the original cast there to host the question and answer and be the host. We have Napoleon and Pedro and Uncle Rico are going to be there. We may not even do a taco or a tater tot bar for that. So that's going to be super fun with Napoleon Dynamite. Come up in the fall, we have Joan Osborne coming and playing 2 sets of Bob Dylan music. We have the critically acclaimed all-female AC/DC band Hell's Bells will be here in the fall. Hawaiian sensation on the ukulele, Jake Shimabukuro coming back. That's not even announced yet, so you heard it here. We have favorites Pink Martini. They'll be at Chateau Ste. Michelle this summer. Then we'll have them next year in our season. And then we have a great Fleetwood Mac tribute band called Wild Rumors that'll be here in the fall. And we also have a great, for you Neil Diamond fans, might have heard of the band Super Diamond. They'll be here as well coming up. And many, many, many more. That's just a highlight of stuff to come. But we're super excited about what's coming up this year.
Okay. Any questions? Feel free to type them in the chat if you do for Jeff. If not, I just maybe can close off by saying, KPC is such an asset for Kirkland. And, I'm so excited to be able to participate in any way I can in terms of this next campaign, but also, for the seasons ahead as well.
Thanks, Alex. That means a lot. Really appreciate that.
Great. And if people want to stop by and kind of visit, is there a way they can see some of the changes, the new lounge and things like that? Or
absolutely, yeah. If you want to check that out, just to check out anything at KPC, we're at kpcenter.org, kpcenter.org. For any questions, I'm happy to be a resource at any time for you about KPC or show you around. You can get a hold of me at jeff@kpcenter.org, JEFF, and be honored to be a resource to you any way I can about KPC.
Great. Thanks so much. Okay. So next up is the update on the neighborhood safety program. I think we're all closed up for this year, right, Don?
Let me get my audio on and my video.
Okay.
Hi. Yes, the neighborhood safety program is completed for 2025. So I have some exciting news.
Excellent.
Let me see if I can get my PowerPoint going here. Okay, so yeah. So there. All right. So let me see if I can drag these thumbnails out of the way. It happens every time. I don't know why. Okay, so we're going to start our slideshow here. I will just breeze through some of the slides you've all seen before. But the exciting news is that our project was approved once again. This is the 3rd year in a row. Our project has been approved for the neighborhood safety program. And the project is this bicycle ramp that is on Kirkland Avenue, where it intersects with the Cross Kirkland corridor. And you can see the corridor fence going across the image there. And there was just a low spot in the curb that bicyclists were using to access the trail. And our project is to replace that dip with an actual bicycle ramp so that bicyclists can easily access the trail. So this is the location of it on the lower section of Kirkland Avenue where it crosses the trail. We did this in conjunction with two other neighborhoods, Everest and South Rose Hill. And ours of the three, ours was the only one approved. And Everest Traffic Circle on Kirkland Avenue and Cedar Street was not approved because they hadn't done a traffic study that would have been needed to approve that project. So that is off for this year anyway. And the South Rose Hill, they proposed 25-mile-an-hour pavement markings on well, it's actually Kirkland Avenue up there, where the pedestrian bridge crosses over into North Rose Hill. And so cars often go over the speed limit. And they proposed putting big 25-mile-an-hour and with stroboscopic lines and so forth in the street, which was a good project that actually was approved. But since North Rose Hill already had another approved project, each neighborhood can only have one project. So ours of the three was the only one approved. Here's an aerial view of the location. It's the Kirkland Rotary Central Station there. The pavilion on the trail is right nearby. Okay, so here are the projects that were approved, and you can see we're down there. I believe it's on number 5. And you can see the cost of all the projects. Our project, $35,000. Is actually on the low side of projects, but seems like a lot for a bicycle ramp. And one of the other neighborhood reps suggested that if our project wasn't approved, she'd go up there with a wheelbarrow full of concrete and do the project a lot cheaper than $35,000. So the speed radar sign on Lakeview Drive was not approved, I think, because they were over the budget. The maximum budget for each project is $75,000. So they actually were not approved, even though they were scored high enough to be approved. And then 15-mile-an-hour speed limit signs. That's actually part of that's in our neighborhood. So there'll be new signs that parents want to keep the bicycle speed down near Lakeview Elementary School. So on each side of the school, they'll be putting in new 15-mile-an-hour speed limit signs in hopes to reduce speed there and improve safety for the kids going to school, which quite a few kids that go to Lakeview use the trail. So that is a good project. And you can see that's only $1,500 for 2 signs. Cheap. So an interesting project here was the North NK1 Norkirk project, and that is in front of Peter Kirk Elementary School on 6th Street, where it intersects with 13th Avenue. And the rep there, the Norkirk rep, wanted to relocate 2 crosswalks, and one of them a raised crosswalk, because they were too far from the intersection and cars would be blocking the crosswalk because they were pulling forward in order to get a good enough sight line to be able to pull out. So his project was to relocate those for a pretty astronomical price there, as you can see. And there was some discussion on how they were going to handle that because they did score high, but the price was so high. And they made an exception and raised the budget. This just happened at the city council meeting last week. So the city council okayed the option to increase the funding for the entire project so that they could fit that one in. So let me move on here. Okay, last meeting we talked about how our project from 2023, which was rapid flashing beacons in front of Aegis Living, that project was approved 2 years ago, and we shared the last meeting that they were going to start construction in March. And there are the rapid flashing beacons.
Yay!
And they're not quite operational yet, but I am confident that they will be soon. And actually, that's pretty quick. In 2 years, at one time, we had to wait like 4 years for one of our projects to get built. So that'll be a big improvement there. Really hard to get cars to stop there. they're cruising and they just want to keep going. So, and you have people with disabilities from the assisted living place. So that's a pretty dangerous crossing there. An interesting fact about that made this project very difficult was if you see, maybe you can see my pointer here, that's a very large manhole, about twice the size of a normal one. And that is an electrical vault because there's underground power in this area.
Hmm.
So they had to work around that vault in kind of with a lot of engineering in order to install a rapid flashing beacon. So just a little interesting sidelight there. And so we're happy. We've heard a third year in a row we got our project approved. And so I just want to mention that one problem we had this year was that we didn't have any projects suggested. And basically, the number of projects suggested was zero. And the project that we submitted actually was suggested by another neighborhood. So we need people to suggest neighborhood safety program projects, which are projects which improve pedestrian and bicycle safety in our neighborhood. And one good way to do this is that if you think of a project, a lot of times you're walking down the street, you might say, oh, we need a crosswalk here, we need a sidewalk here, whatever. Cars go too fast, we need a radar sign, something like that. But then you kind of forget about it. But if you would hop on our Kirkland website, and you can make the suggestion right away and just send it in. And anytime during the year, it doesn't have to be right before the program starts up. And you just click on this request for service, and you can fill out a drop-down form, fill out a bunch of fields, and tell them what you think. And you could even mention that if it could be a candidate for a neighborhood safety program, although they will do that anyway if they think it is a candidate. They will submit it. And so then when it comes around next year and we're ready to start up the program again, we will get a list of all the suggestions that were submitted during the year. So that is a good way to do it. If you think of something during the year, just go to our Kirkland and submit it. So I think that pretty much ends my presentation.
Great. Thanks so much, Don, for shepherding our project through once again this year.
Yeah, for the third year in a row.
Yeah, very good. Great track record there. I was wondering just really briefly about the last project that you showed. Is there any reconciliation between budgets? And this, I guess, has something to do with, the NORCOM project as well. But is there any reconciliation between the estimated budget they give us and actuals, even though it's 3 years later?
No, I don't think so. Once they approve it, then you're going to get it. So if the price goes up, they just have to eat that, I guess.
Okay.
We all eat it.
Yeah, that's right. That's
So,
right.
but that's it. They've never questioned the price once the projects are approved. We also had another big one on Central Way, and I think Second Street. Yeah, Second Street and Central Way. A big 3-light rapid flashing beacons with a center one, so that was a big one, and I'm sure the price of that was astronomical. And that was put in after the pandemic, so it was delayed for a couple of years. So I'm sure the price just went through the roof on that one, but it was installed. And one I would still like to see that was our project 4 years ago was the rapid flashing beacon at 2nd Avenue South and State Street, where I really think we need one there. And we 2 years in a row, it didn't get approved for some reason. And so that's another one that would still be nice to get. But rapid flashing beacons actually are not being considered for the program anymore. So we'd have to get that a different way. I'm going to inquire about that, though, because in the capital budget, or they have a series of improvements that are scheduled that aren't part of the neighborhood safety program. And so it was mentioned at one time that it might come up, be able to be built through that. So I'd like to see that happen.
Okay, yeah. Keep us informed on that one. I usually get a little nervous depending on the time of day when I cross that
Yeah,
intersection.
I do too. It's not a real safe one,
Yeah,
but
no, it's not.
because the cars come around that curve, and another thing that happens is traffic gets backed up there. And so you're going between cars that are, backed up from the light there. And so you pop between two cars and somebody's coming the other way. That's a very dangerous situation. Had someone almost hit me that way. Luckily, I was watching for that, and they're moving sometimes. They get through that light. They want to get
Yep.
moving.
Right here. Okay, thanks. Any questions for Don about the NSP this year?
Yeah. Could I, real quick question, or actually more of a comment? But by the way, Don, thank you. I think what you're doing is awesome, and I love seeing these improvements that you're putting in place, because I run to the corridor trail all the time. So all the streets you're talking about are exactly the direction I go. Do you know, is there any ETA on when they're actually going to finish Kirkland Avenue and Lake? Yeah, I know they've been working on that intersection right over there on the corner, and it seems like it's just in a constant state of wait.
Right. Conscious state of not being finished. Yeah. They're waiting for the signal poles and the new signals. And apparently, they did not get ordered in advance or something, but they didn't have them. The rest of the project was finished, and they didn't have the signal equipment to put in. So then it was put off to September, and now I'm not even sure if it hasn't been moved back further. I don't know, Alex, if you heard anything about that.
Yeah, I heard the fall, and then I've also heard the spring. So I don't have the latest. Yeah.
Next spring?
Yeah, okay. I'll check on that.
Yeah.
It's just curiosity.
Yeah.
Thank you, though.
Yeah, I think we're all curious about that one.
Okay, thanks, Don.
You're welcome.
Okay, so here we go at the very end here. Community announcements. Let's just do a quick check to see if Nino is here from Prosecco Restaurant Pizzeria. I don't see his name on there. So okay, maybe we'll circle back next time. And just an announcement for Katie's annual clean sweep. So this will be on Sunday. Is that the 18th? Yeah, it's around there. So people are meeting at the Sotheby's right on Lake Street there. You can register online and you pick a shift. And I think last year was pretty busy. I think we got a lot done. It's always a great event. If you have a chance, yeah, please do register and come out. All right. So with that, any other announcements from anyone? Sorry, I can't see hands right now. But if there is, just interrupt me. So I just want to say once again, we take a break in the summer. So our next actual meeting will be on the 8th of September. We will have our happy hours through the summer, however. So the next one's going to be on June 9th. All right. Okay. I think that concludes today's meeting. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.